extra credit stands, hiding behind a creepy doll. We have a Jamie off in a corner, using a laptop, potentially.
I'm in chat.
We have an Andrew. He's mostly taking pictures though. He's working. We have
do whatever.
all of tech. All of
Much
tech's here.
tech.
Yeah, there's much tech.
I think there's even a non-engineer lurking back there.
Oh no! Yeah, Tally is lurking behind the tech booth. Can we get NASA cam? What's Tally doing back there? She crossed the line.
Crossed the no.
She's over the line. Tally, no, Tally. Tally.
Non-engineers aren't supposed to be there.
Piss.
Anyway, she's here too.
Okay. Well, I have a simple challenge. Let's start things off with a simple challenge. This is just an easy, wordy one. Everybody recommend a movie that you like, but everybody else hates.
Ooh.
This
Should be easy for you. You've got a lot of
I
those.
have a lot of those.
Okay, Andrew, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to recommend two. I'm going to recommend a feature film and a short film. For my feature film, I recommend Southland Tales. It is directed by Richard Linklater, who directed Donnie Darko. It is one of his follow-up movies, and it got completely panned, booed at the Cannes Film Festival. Like, everybody hates it. It's weird as hell. It's basically... It is The Rock and Sarah Michelle Gellar in this weird post-apocalyptic... Or not post-apocalyptic... Yeah, pre-apocalyptic LA, but it is actually, it's sort of like a movie about a movie, and both of the movies are almost but not quite a retelling of the Book of Revelations from the Bible.
Yeah.
It's incredibly weird and complicated, but it's one of my favorite movies in the world. But everybody I know hates it. The other one is a short film, which I try and subject people to from time to time. Which is called Runaway. It is a 30-minute short film written, directed by, and starring Kanye West.
What?
Yes. This is a real movie. It is like a half an hour long, and it's really good. I don't know. I super love it. Kanye's crazy, and he's kind of a jerk, but he's really good at what he does. So... I've played this like pre-movie nights at my house, and everybody hates it except me. I'm just like, this is the greatest. So those are definitely two that I would recommend. I don't know who else would have one that they'd recommend.
That's very glowing reviews.
The version of the film that doesn't exist is probably the best of the three versions.
Yeah.
Or the best of the two versions, but that's a good one. Come back around to me. I was still sort of brainstorming it while I...
So, mine is The Butterfly Effect with director's commentary on.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because the director's...
I've seen it, but I've never heard
The director's commentary on The Butterfly Effect is amazing.
Okay.
Because it's like... Because the guys who did it are like the Final Destination people.
Yeah.
I think it's the Final Destination people, and they were trying to do something like profound with this movie. So they are so far up their own asses. It's like, we foreshadowed this here with like these colors. This color, whenever it comes on screen, symbolizes this person, symbolizes danger. There's like. So one of the characters like loses half of one arm and 3/4 of another arm due to an explosion, and it's like that's foreshadowed in the movie because you see his hoodie on the ground, and like one of the sleeves is rolled up halfway and one of the sleeves is rolled up 3/4 of the way. The main character's name is I think Evan Trayborn, but it was supposed to be Chris Trayborn in the script, i.e. Christ Reborn.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that movie is like.
Foreshadowing just for foreshadowing's sake isn't necessarily a good idea.
Like, as I say, the director's commentary for that movie is so worth watching. I absolutely recommend it. 100%.
Jared, I just got to throw a correction out there. It was actually Richard Kelly that directed Southland Tales. I totally messed up. Richard Linklater directed other stuff.
He like before Sunset and
Yeah. I was thinking about those the other day.
Another great commentary. So not terrible, well, not that great a movie, but the original Blade. Just kind of a medium movie.
Yeah.
But there's two commentaries on the DVD. One of them is like a standard director's commentary, which is fine, not that interesting. The second commentary is a commentary with Wesley Snipes and like the special effects supervisor or something, like somebody who obviously does not hang out with Wesley Snipes very much, and is obviously very excited to just be in the room with Wesley Snipes doing the commentary, and so he's always like, "Oh man, so what are you doing in this scene?" And he's like, "Well, I guess I'm doing some karate here and there's some judo. That was a judo move there." The guy's just basically hero worshiping Wesley Snipes during the commentary. It's great.
Anyone else have specific?
I have a movie which is, by the way, the best movie ever, and I'm not the only one who believes this. Many people actually like this film, but what kills it is the soundtrack, which is the worst movie soundtrack of all time. So you have to overlook this incongruence, and that is Ladyhawk. If anyone has seen Ladyhawk, now Ladyhawk is Matthew Broderick, Rutger Hauer, and Michelle, what's her face? Fife, thank you. Fife Phelps? Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer. And it is a fantasy telling of it's a love story. It's a classic love story, but it was filmed in the 80s, and they chose the Alan Parsons Project to do the soundtrack.
Oh, no.
So, which at the time I'm sure is great, but not so great nowadays when you're listening to it and you have these like dramatic scenes of Rutger Hauer riding his black stallion over a mountaintop, and there's this 80s electronica playing, and you have to get past the music in order to get this really awesome. It's a fluffy film, but it's a really fun, fluffy film. Just you have to bear through the music.
It's one of those movies. That's always the problem with movies like that, though, because you're trying to
so dated.
But you're trying to recommend it to somebody, and you're like, "Oh man, we should see this Ladyhawk movie."
And you put
and
it
then
in,
you sit down,
and it's the credits because it
and the
is
person just kind of looks over at
relentless.
you.
It's relentless. It's the whole thing. Medieval disco, someone's calling it.
I kind of want to see this now.
Scott Kurtz and I have talked about this film because it's one of his favorite movies too, and it is so cool, and it's a really fun movie. But you just have to. I seem to recall the opening sequence is literally Rutger Hauer riding around on his stallion, and then there's like this wicked electric guitar electronica playing, and it's so bad.
I wanted to be riding past, just ride along and just ride past a stage that this guy's playing on.
But yeah,
and
if they'd used the classical soundtrack, it would have been a work of art. But no, they went with the incredibly dated, let's be hip and cool and funky, and we'll get Alan Parsons Project to master the soundtrack.
You do the re-release.
The re-release.
With the Alan Partridge Project.
Anyway, so that one's for you, Scott Kurtz, because I know you
soundtrack
and I love that movie, hate the soundtrack.
So what's the exact question?
Just movies that you like that everyone else hates.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I really love this movie called, and I think it's called this, Kodomo no Ami to Miyuki, which is supposed to be wolf children Ami and Yuki.
It's a great movie.
I
Who doesn't
love
like
that.
movie?
I love it so
no
much.
idea.
It's about this young woman who falls in love with this werewolf type guy, and then things happen,
It's
and
also a
she has
vampire guy.
to raise these children.
Step 3, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 4,
I don't want to
raise your
spoil
wolf
it.
cub.
So she has to raise these half-wolf children, and she doesn't know how to raise them because they keep wanting to change into wolves, and it goes through this whole motherhood thing, and they go to a small little village. It's really quaint and nice, but it's apparently very, very boring to most of the people I show it to. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna watch this and it's gonna be so fun, and then they're like.
It depends on how you if you sell it as
Yeah.
a werewolf thing, then that could be people might be a little bit disappointed.
But I love the aesthetics. I'm like, oh, look, we can sit here and watch them, and there's just this wind going by, and the scene is gonna take 4 minutes of them just sitting here and the rain is falling, but it's so nice.
Hey,
Also, I like watching Tron Legacy. It's just really I hate the story. It's really stupid.
But
It's so bad, but for a sensory
pretty.
overload, it's very pretty. And
It's
it has
so
a great
pretty.
soundtrack. Although the graphics did not age very well.
Really?
Yeah, go back and watch it now. It's actually kind of
that movie's only a couple years old.
I know.
Yeah.
It's surprising. surprising.
Yeah.
That's the
Jeff Bridges
Jeff Bridges-
didn't age very well.
yeah.
He turned into a plasticine man.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah,
They
they
filmed
filmed.
a whole bunch of the first
Actually-
motorcycle chase scene.
Yeah.
They filmed it through the tunnel that I used to walk through every day from school to my
Yeah,
apartment.
it goes under BC Place Stadium off the Cambie Street
Like
Bridge.
The,
between Costco and the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
I think down the block from where you guys used to live.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
like-
I remember seeing that. Going,
Because I remember watching it before I moved to Vancouver, and then I moved to Vancouver,
You're
and
like,
then
oh,
I
hi.
was living there for a little while, and then I watched it again, and I was like, hey, wait, I know where all of these places are.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the movie for that is right at the very end when they're driving over the Lionsgate Bridge, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
geography of that scene is all wrong.
Yeah.
Because
They
they're
go
like
back- they
they're
go
like
bridge
driving
the other way.
over the bridge towards Park Royal Mall, and you can see Park Royal in the background, and then they're going through the like forest corridor, and
Yeah.
it's like no.
It's only visible in the scene towards the beginning where they show like all of the TVs of like what happened to the NCOM between the 80s and today.
Right.
But the building that I lived in Vancouver at the time, the Cube on Georgia, was the NCOM headquarters
Yeah.
for the 80s stuff.
oh,
Oh,
yeah,
right, yeah.
And they were filming a press conference scene there, and I didn't know about this because I wasn't really paying attention. I guess I didn't pay attention when I came in on Friday or whatever. So it's like Sunday morning, and I'm like, I'm gonna go out and take some photos. So I get dressed, I have breakfast and everything. I pack up like 2 film cameras because I want to go out and shoot some street film in Vancouver. And I walk downstairs and I exit my building, and there's like 100 people standing there, all holding film cameras. And I was just like,
Inception sound.
what is it like? I don't understand what is happening here. Did
It's like
somebody
if I go back and leave my camera
And
and then
come
come back
back
down, are they all gonna be gone?
Yeah. I was just super like
And suddenly
thrown.
they all have the curl in their hair.
Eli Huaran,
Malkovich.
the cut of the butterfly effect I was talking about is I think the director's cut, but it might be on the original cut of the movie on the director's cut edition of it. I'm not entirely
really?
sure. The director's cut of the butterfly effect also pretty screwed up. The end of that movie, is very messed up. I can spoil it for you, but like it's
I don't remember what happens in the
Well, there's 2 different endings.
in the
yeah.
director's cut. He
The other
In the-
The
in the director's cut-
director's cut is different than the.
yeah he goes back in time to when he was a baby and commits suicide.
Oh,
Not even
In the,
baby.
in
Right.
the womb.
In the womb.
Oh, I definitely did not see that.
Yeah.
That is some serious stuff right there.
Yeah, that is like you cannot show that in a movie generally, just because like who wants to see that?
Oh.
That's an alright movie that an insane movie wants to come out of.
yeah. That reminds me of like just in terms of like weird tonal shifts and things in director's cuts. The Mel Gibson film Payback. That movie, when it like the theatrical cut of that is borderline a comedy. It's grisly
It's good.
action movie. It's good, but it's basically like they basically just play this joke where all he wants is his cut. For the whole movie,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I don't want to take down
I want my
all you
$2.
assholes. Like, I don't want to do this. I just want my 10 grand or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And he ends up having to go up against this entire crime syndicate to do it. The director's cut it cuts all the humor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like just
Oh.
this super grisly grind.
That's boring. I
And
don't
so
think I
like
this
the storyline is basically the same, but they've taken all the charm of the movie out of it and released it as the director's true vision.
Alright.
Payback has like the best intro sequence ever. I just
Yes.
love him like lying on the table in like the chop shop.
Better than
Place.
Lost in Translation.
Well, it's him. It's him. He's just
Yeah.
he's lying on
yeah.
the table in this like terrible like black market surgeon's place, and the surgeon just takes like this big bottle of whiskey or something
Yeah.
and takes a big slug out of
And
it
then just
Think of
and then
Google
pours
as
it
an Android
into
phone
like
on
a container and puts like all his surgical tools into it.
May I for one moment?
And
You may.
pours it on his wound, and then gives him a
I
drink.
think you
It's
can
like a
shake him.
universal
I think he's
thing.
above it.
Let's see it.
What was the notification for?
For that.
Was it at least good? Could you read it out to us?
We can't.
Nobody
No,
knows.
no,
Nobody can
no,
see
no.
There.
What?
There's nobody on tech right now. That's cool. That's fine.
Can you?
Womp womp.
You just have those pre-written, don't
Again,
you?
I
Where
think-
did it go off?
I think the elementary school classroom policy of like, okay, well, read the note out to the class, please.
Yeah.
Probably
That's not bad.
applies. Matt, do you
Did
have
you
any-
bring